So now that we know how we can select columns from a data frame, let's see how we can then assign meaningful name to the columns of a data frame. To do that, we will first create a new data frame. So let me create a new data frame here called customer info equal. We will remove the show method at the end, and we will take a look at the schema of the customer info method using the print schema method. So we can see that our newly created customer info data frame has 4 columns, and they all have the names you can see below here. Now let's say we want to change the name of the columns. So one way to do it is to change it directly here inside the select method. And to do that, we will use a method called alias. And you note that this is a column object, and on that object there are many methods and functions available to us. And one of those can allow us to change the name of a column. So let's do dot, press tab, and then you will get the auto suggestion list where you can see all the operation that can be applied to a column in Apache Spark. We will scroll down and select the alias one and pass in as argument the new name of the column. We will call it customer, let's say key, customer key, and we will do the same with the other columns. We will call this one customer ID. This will be our customer, will just be the first name. We call this one the first name. And the last name. The last name. Exactly. Now let's run this cell again. And now you can see that the customer info data frame has column names that are different from the customer data frame. So we change the C customer SK to customer key, and the C customer ID to customer ID. Now the data frame has more column, at more friendly columns name. The next thing we will do is to see how we can change the name of the column from an already existing data frame. So let's change the name of the customer info data frame again. What we can do now is to say that let's create a new one called customer info, let's say renamed. Now we will pick up our customer info data frame, and there is a method on the data frame that allows us to change the name of the columns. So this method returns a new data frame with the name of the columns changed. So the name of the method is with column renamed, column renamed, and it takes as argument the name of a column and existing. So column name, in our case, we can say the customer key column from the customer info data frame, and we want to rename it to, let's say, only key. And then we can do the same with the ID, with column rename. And then we say the customer ID should be renamed as only ID. And we will leave the two other columns unchanged, so that the expectation is that in the customer info rename data frame, the customer key should be renamed to key and the customer ID should be renamed to ID. So let's see if this worked. Let's run the cell. Okay, there were no error. So now let us take a look at the customer info renamed dot print schema. Okay, what we can see here is that the customer info data frame has key, ID, first name and last name, and the customer info has customer key and customer ID. So this is how we can then rename those data frames columns. You can also see here, this is the schema of the customer info data frame, and this is the schema of the customer info rename data frame. So these are the two ways you can rename the columns of a data frame. As you saw here, if we did not specify any column, it will maintain the same name as in the source data frame. That's why the first name and the last name renamed unchanged. So next, we will see how we can then put two data frames together to create one with an operation called join.